your jaw hit the floor. I've never seen you have that type of facial reaction. Now that you've had a few moments here to digest what's gone on, what are you thinking?
Well, first of all, I'm so proud of the NBA brotherhood. And I said this, going down to the NBA bubble was going to give these guys a huge platform to be able to let their voices be heard and come up with different things to help stop everything that's going on in the world for the social injustice, police brutality, whatever the case may be. And today history was made, and they did it collectively, not individually, collectively. And that's what was going to happen when you got all of these guys of power together and everybody got on one accord and one page. It would have looked absolutely bad if the Milwaukee Bucks would have played today and the other teams would have said, you know what, we're going to play. But it seemed like to me it's been discussed, it's been talked about, the Players Association was involved, and it's something special to watch. But this is just the starting point, because now what's next?
So that is the question, Kendrick. We just saw a tweet from Adrian Wojnarowski quoting a vet that says the season is in jeopardy. Do you think it is?
Well, I don't know. We have to see. But now is the time to say. Now is the time to actually, because owners are going to be calling phones. Now is the time to put pressure on owners to say, you know what? Hey, this is what we want. This is what we demand. These the actions that we want to take place. That's the next step. Because at the end of the day, if we boycott and then after that nothing else happens, then we boycotted, I understand, to make a stance, but we still not getting anything accomplished, if that makes sense. We're boycotting to send a message to the owners to say, hey, y'all have these relationships with these mayors, these governors, everyone to bring justice, especially what happened to the man in Wisconsin, to Breonna Taylor. Our ownership, these billionaires have these relationships that they can make these necessary phone calls. It'll be interesting to see what happens tonight in the Zoom meeting. It'll be interesting to see what happens, in the next couple of days when, guys are going to be talking with the commissioner and guys are going to be talking with ownership. So I'm ready to see what's going to happen.
Kendrick Perkins here on Tim and Sid. Again, for those just tuning in here on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 590 The Fan, the 3 NBA playoff games that were supposed to happen today are not happening. We have no idea what the status is of the Raptors-Celtics game tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and the boycott is happening based on the events of Kenosha, Wisconsin over the last 72 hours. Perk, we're just forgive me as I look down. Forgive me here because Jeff Passan of ESPN is also tweeting out, because the Milwaukee Brewers are not playing tonight. Jeff Passan's also reporting there are other teams thinking about doing the exact same thing, specifically the Seattle Mariners, who have the most black players out of any team in Major League Baseball. When we say history is happening here, can we even absorb what this really could mean as well? Like this is going to transcend every sport. It feels like it's already happened in baseball, and who knows how far this could go? Could this go to the NFL? If you're a National Football League player, do you think kneeling works? Do you think wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt works after what we just saw over the last 3 days? I wonder.
Well, the thing is, over the last 400 years, nothing that we have done have worked. So we got to try something new. But at the end of the day, my thing is this. I don't know if shutting down basketball games or boycotting it is going to be the solution to the problem, right? I don't believe that it is, but it's a crawling step forward. Now, like I said, what's next? And when you look at it, I just applaud it because everyone was on the same page. It wasn't one individually doing it. It was more so like, no, this, you could tell this has been discussed behind the scenes. It's not, and that's what happened when I said this. When guys get together down there in that bubble, they were going to come up with creative ideas. They will go come up with different scenarios, and they will go come together. And that's what they've done. And everyone is on the same page. But this could be a ripple effect. But this is a message to the billionaire owners that, hey, we will not play until you help us out and come stand on the front line with us and use your relationships.
Right. Kendrick Perkins joining us here on Tim and Sid. Perk, you've been there. Like, you've been. I was struck by Fred VanVleet's very thoughtful, very intelligent way of explaining how he felt. And all I could think of was in all of his frustration, this is a man who has had professionally maybe the greatest year and a half to 2 years that we have seen. He went from undrafted to a guy that's about to be handed a lot of money that will make his young family financially set for the rest of their lives. And here he was talking to the media over a Zoom in the middle of a global pandemic, sounding like he was beat down emotionally and physically, when it should have been maybe the greatest time of his life. Perk, you've been there. How hard is it for an NBA player or NBA players to sit out when they could be winning an NBA championship?
It's very hard, but it's a sacrifice. And do I think the season is going to get canceled? I highly doubt it. I think the Adam Silver and the owners are going to do what they're supposed to do and actually addressing the issue. I think that they're going to get on the phone and they're going to hash this out. I think just doing this today raised the eyebrows. But, you know, for guys to put their livelihood on the line, people have to understand this is entertainment. This is entertainment to a lot of the people, a lot of the fans. But to basketball players, baseball players, this is our job. This is how we're able to provide for our family, put clothes on our backs and things to that nature. And here it is today, guys have come together again and collectively made history.
Kendrick Perkins here on Tim and Sid. So that meeting tonight at 8 Eastern between the commissioner and whoever wants to come down still in the bubble is shaping up to be one of the biggest in the history of the league. If you're a player in that room, let's say you're Adam Silver, Perk, let's say you're the commish, and a player says to you, I don't think it's worth it to be here. The change we wanted to effect isn't happening. I want to go home. What do you tell that player?
Well, first I will ask the player, what is the plan? Because going home and protesting, what is that going to do? And that's my thing. We have been protesting for over hundreds of years, and we haven't had change. If I'm going to ask the question, like, again, what is your plan? I understand if you don't want to be here, but please tell me your plan. Tell me what's next. What do you expect? What are you going to go home and do? Because the resources that you have is not as powerful as the resources that the NBA and ownership have. So my point is saying if the players are smart, they would actually sit up there and and hash things out and get an understanding with the ownership. That's just my opinion.
Right. Kendrick Perkins joining us here on Tim and Sid. And Kendrick, we had Chris Haynes on the show from Yahoo a little earlier on, and he seems like he's reporting that there are a sizable amount of players that agree with you. Per Yahoo sources, and this was just tweeted a couple seconds ago, there is a sizable amount of players advocating to finish the season out since sacrifices were made to enter the bubble, believing the NBA platform is a useful resource in this social climate. Like, that's the balance that you're talking about, is using the NBA and the power of the NBA to get your actionable, and I said this earlier, actionable change out there for people to use and to move forward with. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah. No, that is what I'm talking about. Yeah. What you have to realize is that, say we didn't have a season and players said, okay, we're not going to finish the season. It would have made a statement, but to actually start the season and said, no, we're going to boycott a game, that never happened, right? We not started the season, whether it was due to, contract collective the CBA or whatever the case may be, but to boycott in the middle of the postseason sends a huge statement. And what it is while, yes, we have Instagram, yes, guys have Twitter, they have millions of followers, it's nothing like those millions of people that are watching the post-game interviews or watching the pre-game interviews or us being able to watch Doc Rivers give that powerful speech yesterday that happened down there in the bubble. The microphones are in front of their faces. All the media outlets are down there. That is part of it.
Kendrick Perkins here on Tim and Sid. A couple of follow-ups to your follow-up, Tim, because the tweets are coming in that quickly. Chris Haynes got a direct quote from a player, and he said, quote, "We're already here. Let's finish what we started," end quote. So you're going to see two sides of that, definitely. And Chris Haynes, we talked to Chris Haynes last hour, and he was outside the Bucks dressing room. He didn't know what he was waiting for. He now knows. Apparently, the Bucks players will make a statement as a team outside of their locker room at some point. So that's another update from Chris, who was in the thick of it in Orlando, who joined us last hour. Perk, do we have games by this time next week? Are they playing?
Yeah, we do. Because the ownership's in the NBA. We have the best commissioner in the sports, who's a player commissioner, and he will figure out a way to get things done for as, meeting the player's needs or doing something to help, say, okay, we support you guys. And I strongly believe, like we're seeing tweets and like Chris Haynes is reporting, that guys are down there and they're going to finish what they started. I believe them. Right. This is just a statement that says, hey, we want action. And right now, I think we're getting action. Don't misquote me on this, but I think someone was just arrested in Milwaukee. Someone was just arrested in Milwaukee for a shooting. And this is the type of action that we're talking about. And I keep telling people it's a difference between being popular and powerful. When you get a group of guys together down there in the bubble, they become powerful, especially when they're on one accord. They become powerful. One individual is popular, but all those guys down there are powerful, and they could move the needle like they did today.
Perk, we always appreciate your time. This is hasn't been easy for the last, 6 months. But we appreciate you taking time and talking to us, okay?
Well, Tim, I tell you what, it has been the most craziest year of my life, my 35 years of living. 2020, just full of surprises. What else can we get?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people saying that right now. Perk, we got love for you. Keep talking to us. Keep coming back. Right. We'll always listen.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Perk.